So we're going to get started sharpening this. Again, it's my Dalton Militia, 07 Militia. I've been letting this stone soak for, I don't know, maybe an hour now. It is 600 grit. The only 600 grit stone I can think of off the top of my head that I have any experience with is the Nanowa Professional. So it's going to be interesting to see how this stone behaves. Oftentimes when you first get a water stone, the top layer has some kind of coating on it that inhibits good abrasion. So it's always best to lap the top of them as soon as you get it. I should have done that earlier, but I didn't even think about it until just now. I've got a little hook going on in the edge. Maybe I can get that to show up. There's a little hook going in, almost like a small, tiny little recurve. So I'm going to have to straighten that out. It's a pretty obtuse angle. I'm not sure if you can see that. The stone, right off the bat, feels pretty coarse. Got a scratchy feel to it that's not unpleasant. Yeah, I think this is going to work out well. I'm right on the bevel. I'm going to concentrate down here and see if I can get that little hook out. I'm going to hit it from both sides. Just putting that little bit of pressure down, which is not a lot. I can see a little track mark forming. So the stone has a little bit of softness to it. Not something I'm a fan of. I've got a burr everywhere except the base of the knife. The stone is releasing abrasive, so it is a little friable. Alright, I've got a burr across the whole edge. Just looking for straightness now. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to go over it a few more times just to try to even things out. some nice light passes. Kind of clean things up. I can still see down here at the base of my edge is narrowing a little bit. Once I get done with this side, I'm going to probably come back and make some adjustments and see if we can get that to even out. I've still got a little bit of a hook on this side down in the base I got to correct. Well, whoever sharpened this went at an extremely high angle right here in the belly and the tip. So my bevel is completely missing that area. Shit. So it may widen out a little bit. The stone is readily shedding grit, which means it's constantly releasing fresh abrasive. It's both a good and a bad thing. Good thing is you're not dealing with dull abrasive, so the stone's going to keep cutting quick. The bad part is the stone's going to wear pretty quick. I'm going to let it dry out a little bit. See how this mud looks. Add just a little more water. This is the Pride 1000 grit. So my initial impression of that 600, it's okay. It cuts well. It leaves a hazy finish, just like a 600 grit should. You know, as far as that kind of stuff goes, I like it. However, it's a muddy stone. It sheds grit pretty quickly. I don't like that aspect of it. And it's got a softness to it that, if you know me, I'm not a fan of. The 1K, it too has a little bit of softness, but underneath you can tell there's a density to it. I don't know how to describe that 600 grit. It's got a hardness to it, yes, but the friability makes it soft, if you can follow that logic. And due to that friability, it's not a stone I think I'm going to use often. The 1K has a little bit of that friability going, but it's not as bad as the 600. It makes me wonder how the rest of their lineup is. If you've got to go to a 10K stone to get a nice polish, my guess is their other stones are going to be friable too. I may just order one more, like the 6K, get an idea of how it behaves, and then make my determination if I'm going to continue further with them at that point. On another note, I've started restocking my Sharpening Pro stones. They are my all-time favorite stone, and because I use them so often, they're starting to show the wear. They're getting pretty thin, especially my 5K. So I went ahead and ordered some backups. So right now I've got a 120, 320, 1K, 2K, and 5K. Brand new in reserves. As my Sharpening Pro stones get to the point where they're really thin, I'm going to cut them up into Edge Pro stones. If you're not familiar with how to do that, I'll leave a link down in the description for my buddy Max, who shows you how to do it. It's pretty simple. You just take a hacksaw, score it basically, and then it'll break at some point. Show you guys this edge before I strop it and do a cut test. So this is off the 601K Pride stones. I can get the lighting to work with me. On this side, you can see in the belly, it widens out a little bit. This side doesn't have that problem as bad. Well, actually, it does look like it does. They look to be about the same. I guess it's just the angle I'm looking at it from. That looks pretty symmetrical now that I'm staring at it through the camera. The back end got a little lopsided. It's not too bad. I can live with it. So I couldn't find my magnifier, so I'm gonna insert some microscope video of the actual edge before stropping. I don't know where in the hell I put that thing. This is just 2 micron CBN emulsion. That should be plenty. That's a nice finish. I'm not going to bother testing the belly here. I'm just going to test the main flat because there's just so little of it to even mess with. There's no sense. 187. $181. 106. $193. Doing the average came out to 167. I did that fourth number because I came up with 106. That number seemed off in comparison to the rest of these, and that final test was pretty close to the other three, so I think that 106 was a fluke. Not sure what caused it to be so low, but there you have it. Not super sharp like some of my other knives. It's respectable though. The angle is more obtuse than what I would normally like, but I just followed along with what was existing. Also, those stones are friable, so they release grit. As it rides across the stone and that grit hits and slams into your apex, not only does it remove the burr, it removes the apex itself, so it rounds things out. I'm not unimpressed, but I'm not super impressed with the stones. Appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. Y'all have a good one.